Have you ever heard of a polar bear who can't stand the cold? Well, it's true, and his name is Polo. And this story will take you where you never imagined. Polo lived in the North Pole, but he shivered every morning. While his friends swam happily among the ice, he just wanted a blanket and a hot chocolate. Brrr. I can't take it anymore, he growled between sneezes, as he curled up under his cave wearing a hat, scarf, and 3 pairs of socks knitted by his grandma. His seal and walrus friends didn't understand him. But you're a polar bear, they laughed. But Polo felt his fur wasn't enough for all that ice. One day, tired of shaking, Polo made a brave decision: he would leave the Arctic. He wanted to find a warm place where he could live without shivering. So he said goodbye to his friends, put on some sunglasses, and set off on a floating iceberg, with a rusty compass and lots of hope. He traveled day and night, watching the ice slowly melt. Until one afternoon, he touched solid ground. And not just any ground, it was a beach. Polo arrived on a tropical island full of palm trees, coconuts, and bright sunshine. His paws touched the hot sand and, for the first time, he didn't feel chills. "This is the life," he exclaimed as he lay under a leaf umbrella. He ate fruit, swam in warm waters, and even learned how to dance salsa. But the island wasn't uninhabited. Soon he met an iguana named Luli, an expert in sunbathing and telling ancient sea stories. Luli was surprised to see a polar bear on the beach. "Shouldn't you be fishing among the ice?" Polo laughed. "Cold and I aren't friends." They quickly became friends. Luli taught him to climb trees and Polo taught her to build sand igloos, though they didn't last long before collapsing. Days went by and Polo thought he had found the perfect place. But something unexpected started to happen: his fur began to change. First it turned beige, then browner, and then, his whole body started itching. Luli took him to the island's wise parrot doctor. "Your body isn't made for this climate," said the parrot as he applied a cold leaf compress. "You need to return to the cold or you'll get sick." Polo was scared. "But how? I'm happy here." The parrot explained that some bodies need the cold even if the heart prefers the sun. Sad and confused, Polo looked out at the sea. Luli hugged him. "Maybe the problem isn't the cold, but how you deal with it." And then, Polo had an idea. He would return to the Arctic, but do it differently. He'd use his creativity to avoid suffering the cold. If he couldn't change his body, he'd change his environment. He said goodbye to Luli with tears and coconuts, and left with a suitcase full of ideas, drawings, and a promise to make the ice a cozy place. When he returned to the North Pole, his friends welcomed him with hugs and many questions. "We thought you had melted," joked a walrus. Polo got to work. He built shelters with insulating layers, warm underground tunnels, and even a cave with solar heating. He invited his friends to see his inventions. Everyone was amazed. "We've never been this warm without stopping being bears." Polo also shared exotic fruits he brought from the island, taught them to dance, and at night, told stories under lights made of carved ice. Little by little, he became an example. He was no longer the weird bear who hated the cold, but the creator of a new way to live in the Arctic. One day he received a letter in a bottle. It was from Luli. She told him she had also made changes on her island. Now she used an umbrella at noon. Polo smiled. He learned that running away isn't always the solution. Sometimes, it's about transforming what seems impossible into something livable and beautiful. Since then, the Arctic was never the same. More bears began to use Polo's ideas and the place became more comfortable, without losing its essence. Polo still wore a scarf, but he no longer shivered. Not from the heat, but because he finally felt accepted and useful, exactly as he was. He became a teacher to young cubs who suffered from the cold. He taught them that they weren't strange, they just needed to find their own way to adapt. And so, among warm ice and tropical tales, Polo understood that there's no perfect place, only brave hearts that create their own. Moral: accepting who we are doesn't mean settling, it means learning to transform the world to live in harmony with ourselves. See you very soon with more magical stories that will take you to incredible worlds.